collected experience. This piece I did, I think it was the beginning of spring, and I was more enthused about the colors that were coming, so this is when I started to get really into the greens and starting to play more with color instead of holding back on the palette. So, and I wanted that wildflower feeling too, how things are a little bit messy, as in life, and I do like the wildflower arrangements. They're not as clean, they're not as compact, and I find that they kind of grow off the page. So. And that's why it's more of a collected experience, because there's a lot going on. It's not just one particular flower here. You've got a lot of relationships happening. Curative, self-explanatory for me, just about art itself. You know, when we're not having a great day or you don't know where to go with the art, I find the color and the form and just getting into that for me is a curative. Disorderly conduct, it's similar to the one two back, which collected experience. That there's just a lot of there are a lot of relationships here happening, and it's not always orderly. As in nature, things just have their way of intertwining, and in the end, it always works out, but it isn't always neat and tidy. Freeform, that's one of my favorite pieces in the show. It's an attempt for me artistically to let go and to leave things a little bit undone and to have more texture. Like you'll see there's more pouring medium in this piece. You'll see heavy drips happening, and that's why I felt more free when I was doing it. Fully formed, that evolved this piece. Originally I thought it would be in a vase, and then it kind of just grew on its own, and I felt that, okay, that's it. Like, now we're completed, but yeah, I like that piece. That, another one of my faves, Fusion. This I did last year, and you can see I'm starting to get more abstracted in this piece, and I was quite happy. And it's different. It has that pink that not a lot of the other pieces have. And I also used oil bar in this. You'll see in the lower right quadrant there, which I enjoy using, and just to get those gestural markings and to keep it loose. And I like the way that came together. And there's no vase really in that piece. Gateway, this refers to the green. I really enjoy that fresh green color right now. And for me, like I had a similar piece last year, I think, called The Well. And the green to me is kind of like that gateway to that freshness. That's where that came from. Good intentions. This says more about the story behind a bouquet, or when you're giving one, that, you know, if you're giving it to a friend or to your partner, what are your intentions? And with this particular piece, it just felt like it had some good intentions, good vibes. Hindsight, that uses one of my favorite colors, and forsythia, and I did this in winter, and I was really feeling that desire to work with something bright like yellow. And it's not just forsythia. In the middle you'll see mimosa, and this was included in a small exhibit for National Women's Day, and coincidentally the mimosa is the flower of International Women's Day, which was not intentional. Like-minded companions is one of the last ones that I've done for the show. I really enjoy, as you'll see in a few of the pieces, this dark blue, almost black color, and how it really helps pop the whites and the greens. And also I like how, because they're all the same pretty much in tonal, but like color value with the whites, but they all have, I don't know, for me, just the same energy. So like-minded, like companions or a family, you know, or a group of friends. Nothing to Lose is more like a story behind a bouquet, and giving it, I was thinking about someone presenting that to a potential partner, and that they were just kind of laying their cards on the table and just think, I have nothing to lose, I'm just going to show my feelings with that one. Idealist. And this is a piece where I was really getting into the graphic nature of gardens and how it's something that I'm always drawn to, how everything interrelates. But it struck me as a hopeful piece, and this was the middle of winter too. And specifically like that strong red flower in the middle, and I thought it just seemed like an individual in the midst of all of this chaos, like they were an idealist. The ink, it's a completely different approach for me. It's very immediate. The medium itself, I love. It can be a bit nerve-wracking working with the ink, but I love how it's so different than the paint, and it's calming, and it's also very graphic. Yeah, so that I was just playing with a lot of linear form coming up from the bottom of the paper, and then more detail on top. So a busy mind. This one I started when the coronavirus really kind of started to pick up speed, hence the title. Stylistically though, it took a little more time, and I wanted to convey almost a sense of the mosaic in this piece, and of color that's kind of coming forward and receding. But yeah, there's a lot going on, and that's why I titled it as such, because that's kind of where I was at the time. Sense of self. That piece, the tonal palette is a little darker. I was struck by an arrangement that I had seen with these kind of jewel tones and these sagey greens, and when I brought it all together, it had a mature feeling in palette to me, and so that's why I was feeling like it has that sense of self, like a mature woman, you know, like you have that sense of who you are. And available memories. When this piece was completed, I was looking at the movement, which I love. I love these kind of almost weedy-like flowers, like the bachelor buttons that have these beautiful long stems, and how they're intertwined with each other, and reminded me of our own minds, and how some memories are buried and not always available, and there are ones that are kind of sitting on top that we tend to reach for all the time. Branching out, I collected these and had them in the studio, these winter berries in the middle of winter, and just the color of it, like we're all starved for color, and that red is always something I'm drawn to in winter, and the graphic nature of the branches. I love branches. And the final piece called Synthesis. That one again has that Payne's gray, dark, almost black background to it, and the green on top. It is something, it's hard to describe what I wanted to do with that. I didn't want to have a vase. I wanted to have that gardenscape feeling to it, and have those greens really come forward. And as we were talking about color, it's with all of what's going on right now, it is a darker piece for the show, but I think that's maybe kind of what's happening is coming out in some of the work.